I found out my family was disappointed when I survived cancer. About 6 months ago, doctors told me I had cancer. The diagnosis was terrifying and I thought my life was basically over. My mom Lisa and my sister Kate seemed really upset at first. They cried, they hugged me, they kept saying how unfair it was. For a while, I felt like we were all going through this together as a family. Then a few weeks later, I got some shocking news. The doctors called me back in and said they'd made a mistake. It wasn't malignant, I was going to be fine with just some treatment and monitoring. I was so relieved I actually started crying in the doctor's office. But when I told my family, something felt off. My mom just nodded slowly and said, "That's great, honey," in this weird flat voice. My sister gave me a quick hug and then immediately started checking her phone. There was no celebration, no relief, nothing. I mentioned it to my girlfriend Rachel, who I've been with for 13 years. She told me not to worry about it and that they were probably just still processing everything. That made sense to me at the time, so I didn't push it. Last Sunday, we got invited to my mom's house for dinner. My 12-year-old nephew Connor was there playing video games in the corner. We were all sitting around the table when Connor suddenly got this annoyed look on his face. Out of nowhere, he blurted out, "I thought I was gonna be rich soon because you were sick." The entire room went silent. I felt like someone had punched me in the stomach. I forced myself to laugh it off and looked around at my family. My mom suddenly became very interested in her plate. My sister turned away and started messing with something on the counter. Nobody said a word. Connor was only 12 years old. Kids that age don't just come up with stuff like that on their own. He had to have heard adults talking about it. So I asked him, "Why would you think you get rich?" "I have Rachel." Connor looked confused. That's when I saw my sister spin around and stare at me. My girlfriend spent the rest of the evening holding my hand and squeezing it tight. She knew exactly what had just happened. The next day, my mom called me. She was being super weird and dancing around something. She kept asking random questions about my plans and my finances, trying to figure stuff out without directly asking. I've never discussed my will with anyone in my family, but what did they expect? Rachel and I have been together for 13 years. She's the love of my life. She's been there through everything. Of course, she's going to be taken care of if something happens to me, but apparently my mom and sister had already decided how my money would be divided up. They thought they'd inherit everything and Connor would get a nice chunk too. They were literally planning out what they'd do with money from my death. When they found out I was going to live, they were disappointed. Not relieved, not happy, disappointed, because it meant no inheritance payout. I spent the next week thinking about it constantly. Every family dinner I'd ever gone to, every holiday, every birthday. Were they just waiting for me to die? The worst part was Connor's comment. He's just a kid. He probably heard my sister and mom talking about how much money they'd get when I passed away. They were so confident I was dying that they were already counting the money in front of a 12-year-old. I called my lawyer the next day. "I'm changing my will completely. I was going to leave some money to Connor and my future nieces or nephews for college. Not anymore. Everything's going to Rachel and whatever's left after that is going to cancer research charities. My family can't even pretend to be happy I survived. They don't deserve a single dollar."